What if I told you? Corvette just did something that would have been unthinkable a decade ago. Not just controversial, not just unexpected, but something that could permanently change what performance cars look like. Forever. Because this is the 2026-27 Corvette C10 SUV. And whether you love it or hate it, this might be the most important Corvette ever made. Welcome to the Car Analyst, where we go beyond the hype, beyond the headlines, and break down what cars actually mean in the real world. And today, this isn't just another car review. This is a shift in philosophy. Because Corvette, a name built on low-slung, aggressive two-seat performance machines, has now stepped into an entirely different arena, the SUV world. And it didn't just enter quietly, it came to disrupt everything we thought we knew about performance. Let's be honest for a second. A Corvette SUV sounds wrong, almost like something that shouldn't exist. The idea alone feels like breaking an unwritten rule, a sacred one. Corvette has always been about purity, about driver connection, about being low to the ground and focused entirely on performance. So why would Chevrolet risk that identity? Because the world has changed. Performance is no longer limited to coupes and supercars. Today, the fastest, most powerful, and most desirable vehicles are often SUVs. And if you think about it, this wasn't a random move. This was inevitable. The real question isn't why Corvette made an SUV, it's why it took this long. But here's where things get interesting. This doesn't feel like a Corvette badge placed on a generic SUV just to chase sales. It feels like something far more calculated, something designed to redefine what a Corvette can be. And the moment you see it, that becomes very clear. At first glance, the C10 SUV doesn't look like a compromise. It looks intentional. The stance is wide, planted, and aggressive, almost like it's hugging the road even when it's standing still. The front end carries that unmistakable Corvette DNA, but it's been stretched and reshaped into something more commanding. Slim, razor-sharp LED headlights give it a focused, almost predatory expression, like it's always ready to move. And then your eyes start to follow the body. The lines aren't random. They're tight, sculpted, and aerodynamic in a way that actually feels functional. The hood looks purposeful, not decorative. The side profile carries a coupe-like slope that prevents it from looking boxy or heavy. Even the rear has that performance-driven attitude, with a stance that feels wide and confident rather than tall and bulky. This is important, because a lot of so-called performance SUVs try too hard. They add aggressive elements, oversized grills, dramatic lines, but end up looking confused. This doesn't. This looks resolved. Like every angle has been thought through with a clear vision. And that vision is simple. This isn't trying to copy other performance SUVs. It's trying to replace them. Now step inside, and the story evolves again. Because this is where the C10 SUV starts to separate itself from everything that came before it. The cabin doesn't feel like a traditional SUV interior with sporty touches added later. It feels like it was designed from the ground up to blend performance with luxury in a way that feels natural. The dashboard wraps around the driver, creating a cockpit-like experience, but without feeling cramped. It's focused, but still spacious. The materials immediately tell you this is something serious. Soft touch surfaces, premium leather, contrast stitching, carbon-style accents, and metallic details all come together in a way that feels expensive without trying too hard to prove it. And then there's the technology. This is where things start to feel futuristic. The digital instrument cluster isn't just a display. It's customizable, adaptive, and designed to change depending on how you drive. Calm and minimal when you're cruising, aggressive and data-heavy when you switch into performance mode. The central infotainment screen feels less like a screen and more like a command center. Fast, responsive, and clearly designed with the driver in mind. Everything is placed where it makes sense, reducing distraction and improving usability. But the real shift comes from the intelligence behind it. This isn't just a connected car, it's a learning system. One that adapts to your behavior over time. It remembers your seat position, your preferred drive modes, your climate settings, even your daily routes. It starts to anticipate what you want before you even ask for it. And that changes the entire ownership experience. Because now the car isn't just something you control, it's something that understands you. At night, the ambient lighting transforms the cabin into something completely different. Soft glows across the dashboard, doors, and center console create a layered, almost lounge-like atmosphere. It doesn't just light up the interior, it sets a mood. And despite all of this focus on design and technology, it doesn't forget comfort. The seats look supportive and performance-focused, but still plush enough for long drives. Rear passenger space appears usable and well thought out. This isn't a vehicle designed for one type of lifestyle. It's built to adapt to many. That's exactly what modern buyers want. Now let's talk about the part that really matters, performance. Because no matter how advanced or luxurious this SUV is, the Corvette badge comes with expectations. And those expectations are not negotiable. While official numbers may not be confirmed, the direction is becoming clear. This is likely to be a high-output machine, possibly starting with a twin-turbo V8 setup, pushing somewhere in the range of 600 to 700 horsepower. And that's just the beginning, because electrification is almost guaranteed. A hybrid system could add instant torque, sharper acceleration, and improved efficiency, creating a driving experience that feels both brutal and refined at the same time. Imagine this. You press the throttle, and instead of waiting for power to build, it's just there. Immediate, effortless, controlled. That's the kind of performance modern vehicles are moving toward, and it's not just about straight-line speed. The real magic will be in how this SUV handles. Advanced all-wheel drive systems, adaptive suspension, real-time road reading, all working together to eliminate the traditional compromises of SUVs. Comfort when you need it, aggression when you want it, no switching, no sacrifice. And that's what makes this so important. Because in the past, performance vehicles demanded something from you. They required tolerance. They were loud, stiff, sometimes uncomfortable. You had to adapt to them. Now they adapt to you. And this Corvette SUV could be one of the clearest examples of that shift. Of course, performance alone isn't enough anymore. Safety and driver assistance have become just as important, especially in vehicles like this. And the expectation here is high. Adaptive cruise control, lane centering, collision monitoring, blind spot awareness, surround view cameras, automated parking, all of it will likely be here. But what really matters is how it feels. The best systems don't interrupt you. They don't overwhelm you. They work quietly in the background, making every drive smoother, safer, and less stressful. And if done right, this SUV won't just be fast, it will be effortless to live with. Which brings us to the most underrated part of this entire conversation: practicality. Because this is the real reason vehicles like this exist. Not everyone can live with a two-seat sports car. Not everyone wants to sacrifice space, comfort, or usability just for performance. People have lives. They have families, responsibilities, daily routines. And this is where the Corvette SUV changes everything. It gives you performance without forcing you to give up anything else: cargo space for travel, rear seats for passengers, usability for everyday life. And yet, when you drive it, it still feels like something special. That combination is powerful because it doesn't just attract traditional Corvette buyers. It opens the door to an entirely new audience. People who always admired performance cars, but never had a practical way to own one. Now they do. But here's the bigger picture. This isn't happening in isolation. The performance SUV segment is already filled with heavy hitters, machines that are fast, luxurious, and incredibly capable, but many of them share the same problem. They're impressive, but not always memorable. Some focus too much on numbers, others on luxury. Some try to be everything at once and end up losing identity. And that's where this Corvette SUV has an opportunity. To stand for something, to create a connection, to be more than just another fast SUV. Because at the end of the day, the best cars aren't defined by specs. They're defined by how they make you feel. The anticipation before you start it, the satisfaction during the drive, the way you look back at it after you park. That emotional layer is what separates good from great. And this has the potential to deliver that. So who is this really for? It's for the driver who wants presence without sacrificing practicality. The enthusiast who has outgrown the limitations of a traditional sports car, but refuses to settle for something boring. The buyer who values technology, design, and performance equally. But more than anything, it's for people who understand that the future of driving is changing, and they want to be part of it. Because whether you agree with it or not, this is the direction the industry is heading. Performance is becoming smarter, more versatile, more integrated into everyday life. And this Corvette SUV might just be one of the clearest signs of that future. So the real question isn't whether this should exist. The real question is, what happens if it succeeds? Because if it does, this won't just be remembered as another new model. It will be remembered as the moment Corvette stopped following tradition and started redefining it, and that changes everything. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the Car Analyst, and tell me this. If Corvette brings this SUV to the streets, does it become the new benchmark, or does it cross a line that should have never been touched?